Hello, and welcome to the A40F podcast. For today's episode, I think I'm going to expand on what I talked about last week. In that particular episode, we talked about motivation, discipline, and consistency. Those three are very, very important components, but I think I can do a little bit better job of summing up those three components into one particular word that you need to focus on. That word is mindset. Now, mindset is defined as an established set of attributes held by someone. A better way of saying that is it's a series of self-perceptions that individuals have of themselves. Why would I give you a definition about mindset? The question you can ask with understanding that definition is, how do you develop a mindset that is productive and allows you to accomplish your goals? Well, here's how. If you understand mindset, you understand that there are four pillars that make up a mindset. The first pillar is assertiveness. The second pillar, character. The third pillar, your frame or your mental state at the moment. And the fourth pillar is confidence. Now, assertiveness, your measurement of how you communicate with individuals. And when I say communicate, how are you able to have a conversation, deliver your thoughts, and how direct and honest can you be as you deliver those thoughts without the intent of hurting someone's feelings? I know a lot of individuals that are blunt and they say, okay, that's just how I am. And that's fine, because there is a certain level of direct and honesty that you need to have. But once that intent goes into hurting someone's feelings or trying to be malicious with your words, it's no longer assertive. It's really bordering into just being mean. So as long as you are direct and as long as you are honest with your statements, as honest to the best of your ability, and you're still able to have an effective communication, then you have a positive level of assertiveness. With your character, that's the mental and moral qualities that is distinct to an individual. So I won't dive too much into that other than you can assess your own character, whether it is of a high moral quality or otherwise. Now, when we talk about frame is your mental state. This is where you get off into a positive or a negative mental state. There are different things that can affect your mental state at any given time. Work can be a definite influence on your mental state. Your environment can be an influence. Personal matters can be an influence on your mental state. This is both positive or negative. But one thing you need to be aware of is what is your current mental state and if it needs to or can be changed at that particular time when you are making a decision. Finally, you have confidence. This is one that everyone struggles with from time to time. Confidence can be shaken when things happen. Confidence can be shaken when you have external factors. Confidence can be shaken when there are internal factors. When you are trying to accomplish a goal and you don't feel qualified to accomplish that goal. That can shake your confidence. There is a story that I'm going to tell you tonight, and we're going to deal with an individual's confidence. And hopefully this will be able to help you understand how these pillars are functioning and how you recognize that in your life in order for you to make the changes and make the corrections so that you can accomplish your goals. So here is the story, and I want you to think about the definition of mindset, and also want you to think about the pillars that make up mindset. The first two, assertiveness and character, in this particular story, It's a little premature to measure those, so I'm going to just say that this individual's assertiveness and character were of a high level. We can have that as a given. But I want you to be the judge of the other two pillars in the story. So on last week, I went to the gym and an individual came in, and I was currently working out, and this individual kind of walked around, spoke to the other individuals that were in the gym, came up, spoke to me. Had general conversation while I was completing sets, but they ended up sitting down on a machine next to me and just kind of started a friendly chat. And of course, being nice, I kind of completed the set and then really took the time to be attentive to what the person was saying. And this individual was telling me about they were just trying to get back in the gym. Things had happened in their life, like medical scares. They ended up going through a divorce. They ended up gaining a tremendous amount of weight. And all of these things kind of happened in very short order. So, of course, I was, saddened by this information, but I began to ask some probing questions. And the first question I asked was, okay, now that all that has happened, what's next? Were you cleared by a doctor to come back into the gym? Because that's the assumption when they are, coming in and kind of sitting down, that you're assuming that they're going to come back and work out. Well, the individual stated that yes, they had been cleared by a doctor, but they didn't necessarily have a plan of what they wanted to do in order to get back to where they were. And curiously, I asked, okay, where were you? So the individual began to show me pictures of, I'm assuming, a few years ago, where they had a pretty good physique. They felt energetic, they felt confident, they felt like they were progressing towards their goals. And the individual now was feeling quite the opposite. They were explaining to me that the weight gain was so much that sleep apnea had took over. Their current partner that they were dating was complaining about snoring. They were falling asleep in the car. And he even showed me a picture of himself laying in the car at a very, very, and his words were in a obese state. So once I asked was there clearance from the doctor to come back into the gym? I then asked, what's the plan? And instead of giving me a plan, this individual just kept talking about, oh, I used to be able to do this. I used to be able to lift this. I used to be able to perform like this. Until finally, I realized no matter what question I asked, no matter how I was trying to get a plan out of the person, there was something wrong with this. And I don't mean in a strange way. What I mean is their mindset was in a negative place and their confidence was totally gone. So when you have two of the four pillars of a positive mindset shaken, it is extremely hard to progress in your life. So you have to become self-aware of what your state is when you begin to start a particular journey. And I don't care if it's weight loss, I don't care if it's getting a degree, I don't care if it's a project at work. The assertiveness, it's pretty standard. Usually an individual is either very direct by their personality or they have learned to, at various stages of their life, to be as direct and assertive as they can be. So I won't necessarily gauge assertiveness because I'm going to give you a little bit of a leeway or pass that you have a moderate level of assertiveness. Your character, I'm going to assume and give you the benefit of the doubt that you have a pretty good character. But the two pillars that we can address is your mental state, and we can address your confidence. And as a matter of fact, those are the two things that we have to address in order for you to be able to progress with your goals. So, how do we do this? One of the things that I tried to do with this gentleman is I tried to get him to commit to an action. And that's why I talked about motivation, discipline, and consistency on last week. You see, motivation is fleeting. It just depends on what external factor is going on at the time, whether or not you take action. That doesn't necessarily depend on anything external. But even that's not always the case. Let's just face it. You don't always feel like doing what you need to do. And that feeling of not wanting to do something affects your mental state. So you have to get beyond your feelings. And that's what I had to get this individual to be able to do first. Yes, things happen. Yes, this individual, I had to get them to admit they went through a divorce. I had to get them to admit that they gained more weight than they want to. I also had to get them to admit that things were not the way they used to be. They couldn't lift as much as they normally were able to lift. They could not move the same way. But what do you need to do today in order to get you in a better state tomorrow? That's taking action. In order to take action, you have to decide what step do I need to take and when do I need to take this step. So I got this particular individual to commit to coming into the gym and starting a workout routine. One day they're going to do chest and biceps. The next day they're going to do back and triceps. The next day they're going to do legs. And for a couple of other days, they're going to do some type of cardio, whether it's walking or running. Great. We have a plan. There is an understanding of what the action is. But to follow that, we have to talk about when does this action need to be completed? Most of us know what we need to do. We just need to be able to do it in a certain time frame. We truly have to live out the motto of don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. That's something that you're going to have to constantly fight in order to reach your particular goal, whatever that may be. So you have to accept facts over feelings, and you have to take action despite how you feel. That's the only way you're going to be able to move from motivation to discipline. It's great if you feel like it, but that's not always going to be the case. So you have to be in control of your mindset in order to reach a certain goal. Now, once you understand what the action is you need to take, then you need to set a deadline for that action. I need to do X by this date and this time. And once you do that, celebrate it. If you are not used to completing your goals, celebrate the small wins. I went to the gym today. I did my exercises. Was it tough? Yes, it was. But I got it done. guess what? I'm going to celebrate not eating too much and erasing the effects of what you did in the gym, but I'm going to celebrate because I'm going to personally praise myself. And then I'm going to look at my calendar and say, here is the next day I need to be in the gym, and here is what I need to do when I get in there. The same with a project at work. This is the deadline for the project. These are the steps I need to take. I need to do this step today and complete it today before I go to bed, and so on and so forth. And by the time you get to the deadline, you should be pretty close to completion. That's how all of these things work. That's how you make progress. That's how you gain wins. That's how you are successful. Now, hopefully this individual will stick with the plan that's given. And in order for that individual to do that, I gave them my contact information and I became their accountability partner. So I took it upon myself to text them every couple of days and just check and make sure that they did what they said they were going to do. If you had chest and biceps, did you do the workout? If you didn't, it's okay. Things happen. Life happens. But as your accountability partner, I'm going to request that you make a new plan, set a new deadline, and go about completing the task. Also, as the accountability partner, I am trying to get you into a positive mindset. I'm trying to tell you about the wonderful things that are going to happen when you reach your goal. I'm trying to help you build your confidence when you're talking with others, saying once you get to the place where you want to be, then you're going to feel more alive. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be enthusiastic about talking to individuals again. So, as an accountability partner, I've taken on several roles, but those roles are important because we're all at different stages. And some days he won't need so much positive reinforcements. Hopefully, his accomplishments will help him with positive reinforcements. But until that time, I'm happy to help. And speaking of accountability, I think for next week's show, we're going to talk about accountability and what it means to be accountable and to have an accountability partner. So I'm going to have the other half of A40F come on, and we're going to talk about the journey that we took and how we had to hold each other accountable in order to reach our goals. Now, did we always meet the individual daily goals that we set? No. And you're going to find out that some days we cheated the diet. Some days we didn't necessarily complete all the reps of the workout. But again, that's okay. You have somebody there to say, you know what? You didn't accomplish what you needed to do today, but let's focus for tomorrow. So with that, I truly hope you join us next week. Like and subscribe to the podcast and leave me your comments. Let me know what you think about mindset and then overall how it affects your motivation and discipline and consistency and what you need to do in the future to help you accomplish your goals. What question do you need to ask yourself in order to understand, do I have the right mindset to accomplish what I really want to accomplish? So with that, we'll see you next week.